Alright, with the plug on place, I'm not sure how to tighten the leads into the harness just yet, so they're kind of just floating around. You bring your black wires up to your relay. Now if you pay attention, one of them has a black and red stripe, and on the relay side there's also one with a black and red stripe. Anyway, black and red stripe, black and red stripe, black to black. They're also floating in there. I haven't crimped them down yet, just for testing. Now, our switch is dangling down here. You have a ground that's plugged into the switch and the relay, so that's grounded. You have a red wire, which is going to go to positive, and a blue, which is going to go to positive, that's switched on with the ignition. But for now, since I don't feel like messing with the ignition, that's also going to positive. So now that'll turn on no matter what. So when you flip your switch, you'll notice a faint red glow. My battery is almost dead, so that's why it's faint. It'll be a lot brighter in the cab and when it's all set up. So, red wire means it's activated, and it's getting current flowing through the locker, so we set that much up. Now, if you come over here, don't get worried. You'll notice that the pin is still sticking out. All you need is a good rotate. So I'm going to take my hand and rotate the pinion. And once it locks, see that? It goes down that ramp, and boom, you're locked. Now, if you, say, switch gears and go in reverse, that pin is going to ungo and then go back down the other side of the ramp. And once that tab hits, bam, locked. So that's how your locker works. Just like that. And then when you flip the switch, that pin will just float there. So we have a properly functioning Eaton E-Locker. Hooray! Now you put the cover on it and fill it with fluid. Good luck. Oh, and we gotta wire the wires. Alright, once your locker's all set up and put away, then you can put your connector on. So if you notice, you can see the pins sticking out there. It goes in pretty deep. So I was trying to put both of them in at the same time and I just couldn't get the force behind it. But if you put one in and just keep pushing, you'll feel it click, and it will click, and then it doesn't come off. So it should snap in place. It shouldn't just fall off. You just got to push it real far. So there you go. And I think if you ever need to unclick it, those two little holes right there, you should be able to stick something in there to unclip it and then pull it out if you got to ever take the locker out again for some reason. So now you get to run your big long wire. So you can connect this up, make sure that you got some slack for suspension droop, because this thing will be going up and down and all kinds of stuff. So just like how the brake line is, got like an S-curve to it, so it's got some wiggle room and, you know, everything moves. I'm going to see if I can hook the wire up somewhere up out of the way that also has some slack. So I'll see what I come up with. Alright, so with the rear locker, you can see I got the wire in the protective wire loom. I have it resting next to the fuel pump, or the fuel filter, I'm sorry. And then it just follows the brake lines and fuel lines all the way down. Goes over top the cross member, keeps following the lines. It goes up there, and then I used a wire. I pushed the wire down from the top where I wanted it to come out, and then tied it to that and pulled that whole assembly up. I'm going to have to zip tie it up a little better so it doesn't touch anything important or moving or hot. So when you come up top, I have it come out right here next to the vacuum brake booster and all that crap. Just kind of comes up here. And that goes into the firewall. While we're out here, the red positive wire that's going to power it, you can see it right there next to that green one. That green one's actually for the reverse lights, so I'm just running that in the same loom. That one goes back behind the head and wraps nicely, follows the other wire looms, comes around this connector, and comes out here. So here's the positive for the locker, just chilling there. I'm going to connect that up when I'm finally done. So I have both of those wires running into that little grommet right there, which is getting used up quite a lot. Slutty little hole. And they come up out here. It's really hard to get you up there. It's hard as hell to get my hands up there, but here's the three wires that I have. So you got your red and your two blacks, and they're going to run to your relay. So then you can trim them up to where you need them. Mine were actually just about perfect. They're a couple inches too long. I'd rather have it too long than too short though. So I got to figure out someplace nice to put this relay. I'm thinking about putting it somewhere underneath here next to the fuse box just because it would make sense, but I don't know. I got enough wire, I can put it just about anywhere I want. I could put it in the fucking, in here if I wanted. So, once you figure out where you're going to put this guy, then you just got to run the ground and the switch wire to wherever the hell you'd like to put your switch, which is going to go somewhere over here for me. I don't know, I might just drill holes into this guy and just pop it in. Have one for the front, one for the rear, because, I don't know. I don't really feel like making a switch panel yet, but if I do, I'll definitely show you guys. And then that blue wire will hook up to wherever the fuck you want to a switched positive, so run this guy to one of your fuses. Kind of like how I did the CB. If you notice, that one's hooked up to the radio fuse, so I don't know. Maybe I'll put it somewhere else, some ignition fuse. Maybe something that's not even being used. I don't know. Well, I'll show you what it finally looks like when it's done, but that's what I got going on so far. Alright, so just pop this little cover plate off. To get your little shifter thing dinger off, you just gotta pull it real hard. I just shifted it to neutral so it didn't bust my knuckle on my radio or anything, and just pull up. So, I'm gonna see if I can fit both switches in here. It should be plenty of room. So my plan is, since there's an open spot here, put one here, put one here. And hopefully I can measure it and get it all nice looking and stuff. And since I'm here, I guess I should make sure that there's enough adequate room underneath for the switches to actually fucking sit, because that would suck. But anyway, just for my own memory, these are how the wires are hooked up. So at the top of the switch, the part where it flicks, we have orange, blue, and black. So that's how that's set up. Okay, see if you can make yourself a mock-up plate before you go drilling into stuff. You might do a better job. So here's the original plate right here, and if you notice on the right side there's a lot of empty space. And flip it over and you can see the restrictions that you have. Obviously you can't put the switch in the white. I mean, you could if you want to get real fancy with your grinding and whatever, but I'm just going to make it a little easier and just have this switch you know, go around that area. So here's what I'm looking at right here. This is the what I'm looking at. Got a little mock-up plate so that I can make sure everything fits. So if you look underneath, the only restriction over here is we have this metal bar right here and we have this plastic hinge. And I'm sure you could grind into that a little bit if you wanted to, but since I'm going this far, I might as well try to do the cleanest job that I can. So with the cardboard in place, you can see that it doesn't interfere with that on either end. And it's relatively centered, as centered as I could get it. If you look on the back here, this line right here represents the white plastic. So that is as far as the switch can go, and then this X right here is just that bracket. So with that in mind, I cut away, and that's what I got. I think it looks pretty good. So I'll just leave that and trace that onto the plastic and drill some holes and start grinding away. So I'll show you what that plate looks like. All right, there we go. Look at that, beautiful. So as you can see, the playing went pretty well. There's still a little bit of a gap there. I had to move the switches a little bit. Initially, the way that I had them set up, they were farther from the center, but if I were to push them any farther, then they'd start hitting this white bracket. So I brought both of them inwards just a little bit. So, I mean, you know, it's a little bit of a difference. But I'm glad that I caught that before I started really going at it. I'm like, oh, they're not going to fit. So now if I have to, I'll grind that center bracket in the Jeep a little if I have to, but I think this will fit just fine. And it looks pretty good. I also cleaned up the light plate. Alright, let's put it back in. This is where things start to get messy. I don't remember where I left off. It's been a couple days. I ran all the wires up here, the blue, the yellow, red, and the black. I just have them coming in at that corner. So they are all up here, ready to go. I've taken off the lower dash panel, as you can tell, so that I can get to some grounding. The blue wires, I cut them to length and just ran them to some fuses. I really should make like some kind of wiring box or something that's hooked up to ignition. That way I don't have to do all this bull crap, because I don't like to do things this way, but that's all I got for right now. So I just got them wired into a fuse. Now up here, this is your main ground bolt for a bunch of different things. So as you can see, I've already used it for two separate things. I've got my CB hooked up here, and also some other switch. I think my my winch switch is hooked up to that. So I'm going to put some proper eyelets on there and undo that and put some eyelets on the ground bolts. I don't know if these wires are going to fit the way that they're set up. They'll definitely come from the relays fine, but I don't think I have enough length for the switch part. So I'm going to cut these and put two more eyelets on the other side. So I'm going to take that bolt out and ground away. Alright, after many eyelets later, you might have something that looks a little bit like this. That's a lot. I have one stock and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 extras going on in there. I actually had to get a longer screw because the stock screw didn't fit anymore. So yeah, those are all hooked up. I'm sure that could have been done more space efficiently if I soldered them all together or something and put them in one big eyelet or something, but whatever. It'll do. I'll put a little dielectric grease in there just to make sure it's got some good contacts, but now it's just time to tidy up some wires and hook the switches up. So let's put this mess back together. Alright, here we go. Both of the switches are wired up. Make sure for this positive wire right here, this is the one that matters. The blacks and the blues, it doesn't matter if it's the rear or the front, they both go to the same place. These are both ignition positive and these are both grounds, so they both go to the same place. The ones you're worried about are these red, these yellow-orange ones. Those are the activator ones. So I just took the front one and stretched it out further so I could find out where it was and followed it back here. So this one activates the front, and this one activates the rear. And you flip it over, it makes sense. So I'm going to hook up the positive red terminals, and then let's test the switches before I put this all away. Alright, now with this positive mess going on here, these two red terminals right here are the front and rear lockers. So let's see if all our handy dandy work is worth anything. Ugh. Ooh. Me likes. Cool. That's all hooked up. Alright, let's clean this up and make it look all pretty. Alright, so this is what it looks like when it's all cleaned up. Got the cover back on, and I think the switches look pretty damn nice. So that's what they look like. That's where they sit, and they're actually pretty easy to use. I like them. The ignition's off right now, so they won't actually work, but they're pretty easy to get to. So I have the wiring running behind that little screw bracket connector thing right there, just so that the wires don't get caught in the shifter linkages. And I just have it running around the back and then through here, so you can see where all the wires come out. They're just chilling right there. So I took those and just zip tied them so that they're out of the way. They're in front of the gas pedal, behind the brake pedal. You want to make sure they don't interfere with any of your linkages, because it sucks if you go to hit the brakes and wires are in the way. So I have them just kind of looping around, but for the most part they're zip tied to the relay, and I just have some of the extra wire just wrapped around the top of that. the whole box. Doesn't look the best, but it's alright. If I really wanted to get fancy with it, I'd cut all the extra length out and solder them back together, but this will do for now. Unless something gets caught or burns up or this actually causes an issue, I'm just going to keep it like this for now. So that's where that sits, and it's cool the way these relays are designed. They actually they can connect to each other. They have these little grooves, and you just slide them into each other. So that's neat. If you want to go the extra mile, you could install a dedicated point for all the relays in your vehicle. Like any extra relays, make like a separate relay box. That'd be cool. I took up all the extra slack out here for the E-Locker wiring. I definitely had a bit too much, so I could have shrunk down the sizes a bit. So the positives and them just kind of wrap around there and loop back. So yeah, it could be a slightly cleaner install. You could sit there and trim all the wires to length and figure out better places for your relay, but this is the way I'm going to do mine, so you're going to have to like it. So, there you go. That's how you wire up your E-Lockers. Also, just a side note, make sure that everything's out of the way. You notice I got a zip tie there, and I got a zip tie farther down. I found out one of my wires was slipping around a little bit and getting a little too close to hot parts, and all the plastic wire loom was melted around the wire. So, yeah, make sure nothing's close to the exhaust. But okay, thanks for watching.